Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. And welcome everybody to another episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. We've got I was going to say an old friend, but I'm not allowed to say an old friend because number one, you're not old and you haven't been my friend for that long, but you become a very good friend of ours on the show and who you are and what you do. And you're very talented and it's a lot of fun to have you. And hold on. She's an award winner, and it's great to talk to you. Andrea Wehlann is here. She's the CEO and founder of Ganga Moon Yoga and Reiki School, best-selling author of 3 books, and award-winning poet. We haven't talked about your poetry. Yes, we did too. You made a poem that we read last time. So if you want to go to positivetalkradio.net or Brushwood Media into the archives, you can pick up previous show that Andrea and I did, and she actually had a poem that was kind of reminded her of me. So it was such a nice thing. Andrea, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good, thank you. It's nice and sunny. The weather's getting warm in Ontario, Canada here. So I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on your show again.
Oh, you are so welcome. You know, my background has a blue sky in Seattle, and today actually is a blue sky in Seattle, so it's kind of cool.
Fabulous.
But the weather, we're getting closer and closer to nice weather, so I hope it happens really pretty fast. So,
Yeah.
Well, tell us about the awards you won last night.
So my Niagara Catholic High School had a celebration of Excellence Week, and they award all the students that do inspirational things. There's Catch the Spirit Award, and they pick 2 alumni, people that graduated from the Catholic School Board, to win the Distinguished Alumni Award. And it was myself and another gentleman who couldn't be there. But I won the award for having published 3 books in 3 years, having 2 bestsellers for my books, and winning 3 book awards in the categories of mind, body, spirit, and inspiration, which is the Catholic values of the school. And so they just want to honor people who choose a life, in faith-based and upholding the values of the Catholic school. So it was quite an honor to be there and to receive the award.
Now, were you prepared? Did you have a speech?
So usually I just speak from my heart, but I thought they said you have to have a speech and be prepared. So I was quite nervous. So I worked on a speech and I wrote the speech out over and over again. And then I practiced saying it to myself. And then I stood up in front of the cinema that they rented out at a local university to have the ceremony and froze like a deer in the headlights. and having to hold a mic to my mouth for the first time and it being far away and not. And, I always have my humor to fall back on. So I just kind of said, can you hear me now? There was a little bit of laughter, and I was able to say a few of the things that I wanted to say, but very choppy, very heart-centered. I was overcome with emotion. And the theater was just like stacked up, very tall, steep stairs. So when you looked up, it was like all eyes just looking down on me. So, yeah. That was a first for me. That was the first moment. I haven't been in that situation before. So a little bit like Bambi.
Now, did you use the technology that a lot of people use in their own world, where you picture everybody as being in their underwear or something like that? Or
I was frozen. Frozen.
You
frozen.
well, you'll get over that the more times you do this.
Well, yes, I did say on the way home, okay, now I like to win some more awards so I can master this situation that obviously scared the heck out of me. But I was upset. There was a lot of students there, a lot of younger students, and I wanted to say something that was inspiring to them. And yeah, no,
So, did you manage to say something inspiring to them?
I don't think so.
Like, go get a job, wake up.
No, I said congratulations to the recipients, just because I know they have the award because they never gave up. And I think that was about as inspiring as things got. And I thanked my mom. So
Aw. Was your mom in the audience?
mom was there. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's because she
Yes.
must have been very proud.
She laughed because my mom doesn't like anything online. And so I had said, I said thank you to God for all the words, poetry, and wisdom that's constantly flowing through my mind, and for giving me the talent to be able to capture some of that, and for the courage and bravery to be able to put that out into the world, even though my mom hates anything posted online. So she did smile a little bit, but she's of a generation where you shh and you don't say things online. So it was a cute moment.
Well, but you did a very fine job, and it sounds like from your speech that you were very open to talking about your path and what you're doing, and the fact of the matter is that you don't quit and you continue to do it.
So I pulled out, when I froze at first, I pulled out the speech that I wrote on paper, only to find out that when I said, "Oh, thank goodness I wrote it out." I looked at the paper, but I couldn't even read. I was just absolutely frozen. So there was a long pause. Yeah.
Well, the difference is if you are like on one of the award shows or something like that, they have can put it on the teleprompter and all that kind of stuff. But when you're just trying to read a little thing and
Mhm.
you don't know what the lighting is like and it might be hard, it's like kind of like, let's see, I gotta, and stuff like that. It doesn't work out very well. But
It didn't.
congratulations.
Thank you.
That had to make you feel good.
It did. It did make me feel good. Yeah. Yeah. It's quite
Now,
an honor.
how did they actually even know about your 3 books? And now did you fill out a form for this or
There's a nomination form, and I saw it, and one of my teachers, a lady that's a teacher, a dear friend of mine, she had filled out the nomination form and sent it in, and then 2 other teachers had backed up her nomination. So I was able to thank them for nominating me for the award. Yeah, and then they pick students that uphold the values of the school, and they're always proud to have the alumni come so that the students that are working hard towards their goals can, kind of learn and see that being in the Catholic school kind of can give you stability and some really good values for your life.
Indeed, indeed. Well, I got to ask you because there was a time not too long ago when meditation and yoga was considered to be out there and woo woo. And is that no longer the case in the Catholic Church?
I think it is the case. Yeah, it's tricky because a lot of people assume that yoga is religion, and actually, um, I just met a group of people 2 months ago, and when they heard that I teach yoga, I had written an article for them on how to calm your mind amidst chaos, which is the title of my second book, Deeper Days: 365 Yoga Inspirations for Inner Calm Amidst Chaos. And so just mentioning that title of the book in the article said nothing about yoga, except it did mention the book title, but it was how to calm your mind daily during chaos, right? With watching the news, things like that. And what I got back was that they weren't publishing the article, and they sent me a video of Indian man, like a yogi from India, a man video on YouTube, saying about how every yoga pose is uh, contorting your body into a deity, and just about worship and things. And to be honest with you, I had heard that yoga was a religion before. I'm in a Dutch community, and when I opened Ganga Moon Yoga, there was a knock on my door, and somebody did say, I see that you have a yoga sign out front of your house, and I just want to let you know that that's not going to happen here. And me coming from the big city, I said, okay, thank you. Namaste. Right. So I hadn't realized that. So that was 2011 that happened. I didn't realize that understanding was so thick. Now, come to 2 months ago when I joined this group and wrote an article for them about staying calm amidst chaos, they weren't having it because it said the word yoga. And there was a firm belief. I watched a little bit of the video and I understand what it was saying, but I cut it off. Now, I'm a teacher that I know that there's a lot of yoga online. And Kevin, if you wanted to be a yoga teacher, I think you could do it this Saturday and Sunday and be a yoga teacher these days. I think it's online for a 2-day study sort of thing. But for me, in my day learning, I had a teacher, a classical yoga teacher, Jivan. He was right from India. And I had him for 8 years before he noticed that there was something in me that might be a teacher. And I didn't want to teach or be in front of people, but he noticed it. And then I had a teacher for 4 years of hatha yoga. And then I had another teacher, my Zen Buddhist yoga teacher in Toronto, who taught Ashtanga yoga, Buddhism, Zen, mindfulness. I had never heard of anything that this video on YouTube was talking about. But I think that still there's something going on that really believes that yoga, even the word yoga, is a religion and that you're worshiping some sort of a god. But it's not my understanding, and it's not anything that I've ever heard of, and it's not anything that I teach. So the way that I am is more about love, kindness, and principles and values that are universal and that we all have, not necessarily giving that, not worshiping, I've never considered my body being contorted to worship a certain idol or a god from somewhere. So it's interesting, the dynamics and the plethora of interpretations, meanings that the word has.
It really is. And as an example, if I were to torque my body into uncomfortable positions, you would hear some profanity coming from my face because that's not it's like, ow, that hurts. I can't do that. But what they don't understand, and perhaps that's maybe what we should talk about today, is what they don't understand is yoga is a practice in being quieting your mind. It's very similar to meditation. Then many people use them in conjunction with one another, as I understand it. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it is more along the lines of getting closer to your maker, not farther away, or not being sucked into some sort of idolatry of something that isn't real. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so my understanding is this is the word yoke is the YOG is to unite. It's union, and it's not union with a certain god or something, but it's you beyond the five senses, into that space where there's no boundaries and there's just a peace and a kingdom of compassion and light and kindness and things that are beyond what we think, feel, taste, smell, those kinds of things.
But it's a very important aspect of the human experience, because kindness, taking care of each other, being open to different things is very important for all of us to achieve, like I said in my opening, why we're here, what we came here to do. And if you don't pay attention to it, you're never going to know really why you're here. So I agree. I think that there are some people who have a classical misunderstanding because they haven't taken the time to
Mhm.
learn about how it is actually practiced. I would have thought that they would have come to you and said, excuse me, while you were writing this and when you wrote this,
Mhm.
that they would interview and say, "What was your intention behind this? Why were you what were you writing this for?" And so forth. Rather than to take you can take anything on the internet and you can make something out of nothing.
Mhm.
So that's not
Mhm.
really a fair analysis of what it is that you do.
Mhm. And I think really you can't give. What I've learned is you can't give what you don't have. And to yoga and that union and having that feeling is a deep dive within. It's not the world that you see outside. That's one dimension. It's the world when your eyes are closed. If you just close your eyes, you can feel that there's so much more than what you just see, right? And
Exactly.
so it really, if you won't understand it unless you actually do it or take the time to be quiet, to be still, because it's only then that you can feel that you're so much more than any thought that flows through your mind. You're so much more than anything you can think up and anything that you can read. These are just ways into the mind. There's lots of ways, but I also think we're not raised to look within. We're raised to get solutions from the shopping mall, American Eagle, McDonald's, right? So it's tricky. Yeah.
Well, it's one it really is one of those things that if people don't take the time. And we do that a lot in Western society because yoga has its foundation in the Eastern
Hmm.
philosophies, and
Yeah.
with yoga, or with Buddha and those philosophies. But those are no, they're different philosophies than what we have in the West because they're
Hmm.
more about mindfulness and being checking with yourself within and seeing what your heart is and stuff. Whereas here we have a tendency to go sit into a large room on Sunday and listen to somebody talk about what we should and should not do or believe, and then we go live our lives the rest of the week, and we don't necessarily pay attention to a deeper meaning of life. And everybody that I talk to that is really a more of a spiritual individual that has a deeper meaning of life, they all practice some sort of meditation, yoga,
Hmm.
one of those things to help them, and to if nothing else, lower their stress level, which will improve their health, amongst other things. Don't you think?
Everything. Yeah. I mean, for me, one of the best ways that I heard it described by Michael Stone, my most recent teacher, was that it's a yoga is a practice of non-reactivity. So, not going through the day, just waking up, coffee, work, come home, kids, sports, books, bed, bath. But there's a break in that. You take time for yourself, and in that space where you take an extra breath or a moment, that's a space where you can come from your creativity, where you're off that kind of hamster wheel of just the everyday going along with things, because those reactions can go all day long. When you hear your phone ping, when you walk by the TV, when you're driving down the street, it can be all day just on that reactivity with what you've always done. But then going to a yoga class or taking a minute to be mindful, a couple minutes at your desk during the day, just to close your eyes and feel your breath in your belly, even allows you to see that there's a little space between just reacting to things, and you can actually come from your highest place, maybe come do something kind, break the cycle a little bit, make new patterns, be a different person, reach your potential, these kinds of things. It's creativity.
You know what's really interesting about that too is that in our society there are rules, and some of the rules are be busy, to continue to do things, and we reward people actually that are, that girl is so busy. I can't. When does she have the time? Because she's doing this and then she's doing that, and she's got the kids in baseball and in soccer and that and that, and they're just so busy, and like it's a badge of honor. When really it isn't a badge of honor, in my opinion, because the negative outcome of being overly busy and being overly stressed for a long period of time can be very negative.
Mhm.
And if you don't have the ability to be able to take 5 minutes or 10 minutes and be able to
Mhm.
relax and regain that mindfulness, then you're wasting your time and your stress level goes up, and it makes life a lot more difficult, I think.
Yeah, you're just going and going until the bow breaks, basically. And my one NLP teacher, way back when I studied meditation, long before I found yoga, I had a NLP meditation teacher for 5 years, and what he always said was, you'd get hit with a 2x4. So regardless of what path you're on, if you're just reacting to things, like, sure, that's one way, but eventually you'll get hit with a 2x4. You'll get hit with something really big that knocks you into that space where you're going to a yoga studio. The people I see at the yoga studio don't come. They're like, I love yoga, I'm coming. They come because, they have news that they're on dialysis. They have news that their knee was replaced, or they need a hip replacement. They're here because they broke, usually.
And
Yeah.
it's really easy. I grew up and, obviously, and because 'cause I'm still here,
Well.
and but I grew up in the restaurant business, and very physical line of work. You're on your feet all day, and you're always busy, you're always running around trying to get drinks for that person and food for that person
Mhm.
and stuff, and it wears you literally wears you down
Mhm.
over time. And if you don't take that moment or two to really reflect and to rather than react
Mhm.
to everything, respond accordingly when you
Mhm.
can. Because in my world, and I don't know if you feel about this the same way, but in my world, reacting to something and responding to something are two different completely things.
Mm.
Or maybe I should say two completely different things rather than that. Anyway, what do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah. Reactivity and responding. Yeah. They're absolutely two different things. Yeah. I like what you said. It's important, I think, to note that in the Eastern side of things, and I didn't know this till in my 40s, was when you are born, you are raised to reach your potential. And here in the Western, we're kind of raised to work, go to school, education, university, get the job, get married, you'll be happy, kind of thing. And that's not what the Eastern side is doing at all. They are taking the time to eat mindfully, eat the proper foods for their body types. Ayurvedic medicine is not big pharma. They don't have that there. And my yoga students that come here that are from India now, they said that when they go to the doctor for an upset tummy, they'll go home and have 5 yoga poses that they have to practice. That's the medicine over there. Where here, it would be unheard of if you say you practice yoga to your doctor to get better. They would probably roll your eyes and give you a prescription. It's totally different.
Give
Which
you
brings
that.
up which brings up another point, is that we are creatures of our environment. What we're surrounded by, and that can be positive or negative. But if you're not surrounded by nature, by water, all of these things, then it's completely different than when you are.
Exactly.
To
Andrea
say it
Whalen is our
nicely.
guest. Andrea Whalen is our guest, and her website again is.
Ganga Moon Yoga at squaresite.com.
We need to take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to talk more about this, because if we can get more people to relax a little bit and to go within themselves, listen to their intuition, it's kind of a big thing that I'm focused on these days, is living your life and in an intuitive way, so that you're not always going from one disaster to the next. We're going to be right back. Stay with us.
They have your eyes. They have your ears. They have your smile. Now all they need is a little more of your time. Make a difference in your child's life, because anyone can be a father. It takes time to be a dad.
All right. I hope that woke everybody up. And you'd have thought that we would have some nice meditation music coming out of that break and stuff. But no, I'm a rock and roll kid from way back when. But I will tell you this: a song like that raises my vibration, and when that happens, you then go into a completely different space than when you have low vibration, and so it makes my heart sing, because I'm a music guy, and I can't play a lick, but I loved listening to it, and ever since I was 7 years old when the Beatles were on the Ed Sullivan Show, and so it's an important aspect of who I am, and everybody needs to find out who they are and what really attracts them, and what can really make their life. When I have a bad day, I go listen to a song that I just love, and my day is better. It's because of the energy that it has with it. What do you do? Not that now you're a yoga teacher. I got Positive Talk Radio. You and I don't have bad days. I know that. But if you did have a bad day, what do you do to kind of calm yourself down and to zero that out and to get back to where you want to be?
I'm a feeler. I need to feel things. So I take my shoes off and go around the block with no shoes. I will go to the gym or have the music up so loud that my body shakes. I need to feel things. Candles lit, incense burning, all those things that I can feel in my skin and into my bones and into my soul. Those kind of things make me feel that I'm alive. I think the future of medicine will be sound, vibration.
Oh, I really agree with that. And by the way, did you ever see the movie oh geez, I just lost it. Have you ever had something on the tip of your tongue and it was a Die Hard. That's it. It just came back into my computer. You know, sometimes it gets lost on the way from your brain to your voice and stuff. But Die Hard, when he gets off the plane and he doesn't like flying, he's all stressed out, and one of the other passengers said, you know, when you get off, take your shoes off and scrunch your toes on the carpet, and that will calm you down. So just like what you just said. So that apparently worked.
The carpet used to be shag. There'd be all in there. Oh, we're dating ourselves.
Well, I date myself because nobody else will, but that's the story for another time. But,
we need a drum roll for that.
Well, we can always go and
there it is. But
anyway, so it's but we're talking with Andrea Wehlann, and I just love you. You just have got the greatest soul, and you are a really cool person. And we're talking about the fact that she's got a yoga studio, and she also does a Reiki. She's a Reiki teacher, and Ganga Moon Yoga is where she's at, and that is in Ontario, Canada. And she's got a BA in psychology. You've studied a lot. You've got a BA in psychology from Brock University, a social services diploma from Niagara College, and you worked and you've also studied under yogis and learning about yoga and meditation. And where did this all come from? Did you have an insatiable urge to learn about this stuff from a young age?
Yes, I really did. I had a lot of experiences that I felt were so wrong and unfair and horrible and cruel and psychotic. And I really felt that I wanted to study and learn and understand and write about and heal the world from those things. And it really sent me on a quest to learn as much as I could and to figure out things and to understand things the best way that I could. And I wanted to conquer all of my fears. I had a fear of walking down the alleyway at night, fear of being raped or something that you see in the movies. And I was reading Stephen King really, really young. So there's
That's
that.
that's not a good idea.
So then I find myself on the mountaintops of Brazil learning Brazilian jiu-jitsu with all of the world champions and stuff from Sao Paulo, Brazil, all the way down to Porto Alegre, Brazil, and learning to parachute on top of the mountains just to conquer those kind of fears. I really felt that I had to leave where I was and go out and do all of these things for a long period of time in my life.
What was it like when you were standing on the top of a mountain with your parachute on your back and people are saying, "Oh, no worries, just jump, you'll be fine." And in the back of your head, you're going, "I'm going to die now." What did, what what allowed you to be able to take that leap of faith, if you will?
I think it was probably overturning every stone and every fear just to be able to get to the top of that mountain and to stand there and to see the blue sky and the clouds. And if you've ever been to Brazil or seen Brazil, it really looks like what heaven looks like in all of the pictures of biblical books and things like that. I really like it is quite a wonder of the world. And yeah, I think I just felt free. I felt free from my fears. I felt free from my thoughts that chained me down and kept me inside and had me thinking dark thoughts and hating myself for a lot of years. I felt like I had achieved something. I had learned some kind of wisdom. It felt empowering.
So did it kind of look like the Garden of Eden, of how we would picture what the Garden of Eden looked like?
Oh, I remember just getting off the plane and driving to Rio and just seeing it like it was like it opened up, like just opened the page of a book. And I just said to myself, like, wow, this is heaven. And now I was raised, a lot by my Italian grandparents. And it was my nonna who first showed me, such love that it's still the love that I share with the world now. And yeah, I just remember saying to myself, I'm in heaven. I really felt like I was in heaven.
Well, I'd kind of look at it like you're in the Garden of Eden, and they have snakes there too. Only they don't talk. They just squeeze and stuff. Anyway, which is why I'm too scared. I'd never go there because they got snakes. They got big snakes. They got snakes bigger than my arm. So, but by the way, we're talking with Andrea Wehlann. Go to her website, which is
Ganga Moon Yoga squaresite.com.
See, it's that Square site that always gets me. I always forget that. So I'll just have you do it.
Yeah, it was gangamoonyoga.com until pre-COVID, and then after COVID, everything changed. So
Isn't that the way it is? And when we come back, let's talk about that, because everything has changed, and if in some cases it's for the better, and a lot of cases it's not. But we're talking with Andrea Wehlann. We'll be right back. We need to take a station break. Stay with us.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And that'll wake you up again. My name is Kevin McDonald. Welcome back to A Positive Talk. And we're talking with Andrea Wehlann. I got to tell you, I've interviewed you several times. I now consider these just more of a fun conversation than anything else, because you are so talented in so many ways. You're so learned in so many ways. And you've written 3 books, and 2 of which, maybe all 3, one is No Matter How Dark the Stain, poems and stuff.
And poems and inspiration for the woman in pain.
And we've talked about this before, that I don't know, and I mean this sincerely, I don't know if I could be a woman. I don't know if I'm strong enough. I don't know if I can do what you guys do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm a relatively, always have been relatively fit until the last 10-15 years, but I've never had to worry about where I walk, where I go, who I see, how dark it is, any of that kind of stuff. And women do, and women do a lot. And they also get affected by what happens to them when they're very young, and they have no control over it, but they still have to deal with it. And a lot of the kids, we were just talking, they had a message from Covenant House. A lot of the kids that are on the street and homeless are coming from environments just like that. And there are 4 million of them at any given time. And it's important for people like Andrea to step forward and to write the books that she's written, because she can make a change in what happens down the road for these kids, because they can read your works and they can feel positive about their existence.
Well, so here's what happens. I think while we were growing up and when these things were happening to us in our time, we didn't have the internet and we didn't have words to describe those things. So then how can you heal?
Can.
Right? And so now I just feel like this is the time when we have people like you that have the pocket. This is why I like coming on the show, because I think to have a new world, we need to have new conversations. And we need to have words for the experiences that happen to us. And then that's how we heal them, because the mind cannot serve 2 masters. Where there's light, there can be no darkness. And so that's the whole idea behind the poetry. And there's a Greek word called mimesis, and it's the first part of what in No Matter How Dark the Stain, my first book. And it's actually Greek for the word imitation. And I'll read you, it's fairly quick, but it's Plato's theory, and you know Plato.
Of
so
course.
Plato's theory of mimesis was that all forms of art are imitation of life, of an idea, of reality. Mimesis allows us to explore the relationship with our inner selves, our emotions, beyond what's possible in the real world. So in poetry, a form of mimesis, the words are written at one point in time, read at another point in time, and through this mind-to-mind, heart-to-heart experience, the reader finds that she or he, they are transformed. That's the power of poetry. And that's the power of words and of being able to share the words. So I wrote these going through all of the things that women will go through. And, thank God I had those experiences, because now women have words for those experiences. And once you have words to explain it, once you shine light on what feels so dark and heavy, it can't hurt you anymore. That's the laws of nature. That's the laws of the universe. It can't be light and dark at the same time. And so we're not getting rid of the things that happen. We're not, but there's a transformation that we have the ability to do. We being human and being conscious, sentient beings with our vibration at this moment in time. And also what you say about, being a woman or a man, it's the emotions are the same. The emotions are the same. So it might be, loss of a child for you, loss of a father for you, right? But the emotions are the same, and we're all human, and we can all heal from each other and from sharing the words. And this mimesis is, and the power of poetry is to be able to take what happens here in this world and shine a light from what's beyond this world into what we talked about when we first started the conversation, to just beyond the five senses. And that's where we find that we're interconnected, and it's a healing space, and it's love, and there really is no darkness there. But to get out of the darkness, that's where the poetry comes in, from no matter how dark the stain. That's
beautiful. Thank you. One of the things, Andrea, that we all face is the stories that we have in our head about what happened to us in the past. And if you can change those stories because of some poetry that you read or write or say, or if it's something like listening to great music, understand, talking to somebody, that can be very, very therapeutic, is to talk to somebody about what the story is that you've told yourself your whole life. I'm not bright enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. And everybody, we all have those stories. And all those stories need to go away in order for us to heal, don't you think?
I think they need to be acknowledged. They need to be heard. I spent a lot of time in my healing process writing those out. I'm fat. I am ugly. Universities don't take girls like me. I'll never amount to anything. I wrote them all out. Every time I heard one, I caught it and put it on paper. And there's a magic in that, because when you can see it, it's the little bugger can't keep running through your mind anymore. You caught it. And there's magic in that, and there's power in that. And so I wrote them all out, and I had 2 columns on a paper once, because I think you noticed I do everything a little bit to excess. And so I wrote 2 columns out once. So then I started to write out all of those ones again. And then I wrote out the real story. I wrote it out in love. I am not fat. I'm actually a child of God, and I'm beautiful just the way I am. I am a piece of nature. So I had the one negative thought in one column, and then I rewrote it in the other column. And I did that for a long time. Can a cat do that, or a dog? No, but we human beings have the consciousness to be able to do these things. We have all we need inside us right now to be able to heal ourselves. We need to know that we can, and we need to know exactly where to start, maybe, or what to do. And so this is my process. Actually, writing the poetry, I used to write out the lyrics of the songs that touched my heart. All the Celine Dion, In Excess songs I wrote out. Depeche Mode I wrote out. All of those kind of songs, I would write them all out. U2 songs, Melissa Etheridge, I wrote all the lyrics out. And then I was just, and now today, if I had a pen, I could probably write 5 poems just right now. It's all I hear in my mind.
Oh, that's really cool. That's so that I implore you to do that, because those are not just coming from your mind. Those are inspiration coming from the other side, coming from your guides. And it's all there designed for you to share your wisdom with the world. I was thinking while you were talking that a lot of what we do in life is all perspective. I was watching America's Got Talent, and a comedian came on. He was a black gentleman, and he was very funny. But he said, people in the West have a different view of weight than we do in Africa. And he said, because in Africa, if you're skinny, that's the way everybody is. And rather than to talk down to somebody who's heavier, what we say is, hey, where'd you get the food?
Sadhguru would say, it's an accumulation. It's just accumulation. So when you're born and you're a baby, you grow because you're accumulating what your milk, you're accumulating, then the food you put in, it's an accumulation, which is an interesting way to look at that as well.
Yeah. And so when we start talking about, you're not tall enough, or you're not attractive enough, or you're not skinny enough, well, you know what? We are who we are. And we need to take pride in what we can do, and for really go out in search of what we can do, who we really are, and where we can serve mankind the best. How can we be the most kind, the most generous, to take care of each other? And that will, in many cases, help us with our own insecurities, is to help other people. Neil Donald Walsh, who I interviewed not too long ago, and this is so true. And it's in writing, it's in Eastern writing all over the place, which is, in order to attain true happiness, give it to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Have
It
you-
is
now,
in
have you-
giving that it is in giving that we receive. Yeah. So what you're talking about when you say to ask yourself those questions, what can I do? Who can I serve? Where would you have me be? What would you have me say? That's the process, is self-inquiry. So what's happening is you're asking yourself the question, which breaks up that, in yoga we call it the monkey mind. So your mind is just going around and around and around. That's the nature of it. It's not going to change. So when you ask yourself the question, it stops it. And then in that moment is the chance for your creativity, for your extra breath, to see something new. Otherwise, it ruminates and just goes around. And this is the whole premise behind Deeper Days, my second book, which is, one thought a day keeps connection from your head to your heart. And this is how you stay calm amidst chaos. It's just that one practice of self-inquiry. And the word mantra, the word man is the mind, and tra is for a transportation. So a transport. So you actually have to transport the positive line of your mantra. So if your mantra is, I am enough, you have to say that to your mind. Isn't going to repeat that. The mind is just doing what it does based on its memories, just the monkey mind. But when you tame it, when you have discipline, when you have spiritual practice, with Deeper Days, the second book, or A Course in Miracles is a good one, then you're transporting in who you are, who you want to be, and then that your vibration changes into that kind of loving nature, compassionate nature, the Buddha nature that's within us all, underneath the chatterbox of the mind.
I would like to challenge everybody who's listening to this broadcast now, that if you go get Deeper Days, 365 yoga inspirations for the inner calm, if you get that book and put it next to your bed, and then when you wake up in the morning, don't pick up the phone, stay away from the phone, read the next page from this book for 365 days, and it will change your world one day at a time, because now you have something to contemplate of a positive nature as you start your day, rather than thinking about, oh God, got to get the kids up, got to get breakfast, got to get up 5 minutes early.
Yeah. So just opening it, it's page 186, and the mantra is, or the thing to remember is, there is treasure in the unknown. So it's not like you're reading a whole book. You have a little self-inquiry to break up the mind, and then a little practice. There is treasure in the unknown. And you remember that as often as you can throughout the day. So if you're in traffic, you have something. So the life is not about who's next to you, or this guy's a jerk, driving too fast, he cut me off. That's what's in the reactivity mind. But if you have in the morning, if you put into your mind, if you transport into your mind, there is treasure in the unknown. And when you're in traffic, you're busy. You've got that. There is treasure in the unknown. You have something. And this builds. It's like a muscle. And it's so amazing.
We need to take our last break, but when we come back, we're going to do a fun exercise. Okay. Because we're going to take Deeper Days, and you're going to close the book, and then you're going to leaf through it, and we're going to come up with the reason why this podcast is important. And I'll bet you open up to the right page that you can read it. And we're going to do that. And that's a really cool practice to do, because you can do it with muscle memory. You can do it with a bunch of stuff. So you're listening to Positive Talk. We're having a wonderful time. I hope you're enjoying listening to this episode, and take it to heart, because this can change your life. We'll be right back.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
With Kevin McDonald, you're on the Brushwood Media Network, and also YouTube and a bunch of other places. But we're here. We're talking to Andrea Wehlann, and we're talking about, at this moment, we're talking about Deeper Days 365 Yoga Inspirations for Inner Calm. And if you want to go find out more about herself, you can go to where do they go?
Ganga Moon Yoga squaresite.com. Anywhere you punch in Ganga Moon Yoga or Andrea Wehlann, WEH, you'll find me online. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
And you can go, and I invite you to talk to her. She's very, very gifted at what she does. She's been doing this not a long time, but she studied a long time to be able to do this. Okay, so we're going to do this now. And this will be an experiment. So the book is closed in front of you, right?
The book is closed.
Okay, so what would you like to put out there that this show means to somebody?
Okay, so this is how I work the book. So I didn't number the pages, because if you say you're going to start at 1 and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your mind will already give you a million reasons why that's not going to work. So when I do Deeper Days and do my spiritual practice, I will oftentimes just open the book up, and that's exactly where I'll do the practice. So we're going to do that right now together, right?
Yep.
Okay, so here we go. You just open up your copy of Deeper Days, and we are at day 209, and it's called Sacrifice. So there's a little paragraph, and it'll give us something to ponder. Sacrifice. So imagine you're making your coffee or your tea, and this is what you're reading. The person who wishes to alleviate suffering, who wishes to fix the flaws of being, who wants to bring about the best of all possible futures, who wants to create heaven on earth, will make the greatest of sacrifices of self and child, of everything that is loved, to live a life aimed at the good. If you have felt an urge to speak a truth you are called to speak, please speak it now. The universe needs you now. So that gives you something to think about and relates to our entire conversation. And yeah. And then so this makes you think in different ways, right? This isn't what you would wake up thinking. This is something new and fresh and part of who you are. And the takeaway is the mantra, the little sentence to remember throughout the day. The daily practice is, when you give up something, the universe brings you something greater. When you give up something, the universe brings you something greater. This is the laws of the universe. There's no holes in the ocean. If you take something out of the ocean, there's not a hole. The universe is abundant. It is constantly filling and fueling you. And so sometimes if you give something up, yes, of course, something great comes.
And if I can just add to that, and I love your opinion on this. If you get up in the morning and you're saying, I hate my job, and I don't want to have the day that I'm about to have. My day is going to suck. I just know it. Don't know how or when, but I know it's just going to suck. Isn't that a self-fulfilling prophecy?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's what led me to a steak knife on my wrist. Yeah.
Oh. I'm thankful that steak knife was dull.
It it wasn't, but when I saw
I'm okay. I'm more thankful that you didn't do that.
but I had insight, right? But sometimes you need to walk down those dark alleys to be able to see how dark it is to get back to the light, right? So there's a reason for everything. And I'm really lucky that I was born with that kind of inner knowing, that bodhicitta, that when I saw my skin starting to peel away and the striations of the knife blade in the skin, it kind of resonated something different for me. And the insight was that there's only one way from here, and it's up.
Yeah.
So, and that took me down a different path. But coming back to deeper days, yes, if we're all, and coming back to the conditions, right? We're all moving regardless. We're all moving. You and I, if we never talk again, are going to end up somewhere. We're moving. But the thing is that we have to realize that we can set the sail and we can set our aim in a certain direction. That's what we need to realize. We can aim, we can steer our ship, set a sail a certain way to head towards something that we want to be, towards someone who we want to be, or the personality traits of that we would admire when we're 80 years old and we look back on our life.
And oh, by the way, what the hell do you mean if we never see each other again?
Yeah, I didn't like saying that, but I just meant that we're all moving. Yeah.
We're all moving, and we all have got a expiration date on our foot. We don't know when the time or the hour is, but you just don't know. I was listening, and we're going to have to wrap this up, but I was listening to somebody, and Deepak Chopra was talking. You know who Deepak is.
I do.
And he said, the guy said, aren't you excited about your life? And would you, if you knew when you were young what you know now, wouldn't that be great? And he said, that's just not possible, because I need to learn through the experiences of my life as I go forward that cause me to be the man that I am today, that if I didn't have those experiences, I wouldn't be who I am today. And if I don't continue to have experiences, I won't be who I am tomorrow. So that's it. So take your experiences and treat them like it's an important part of your growth. Even they can be negative, they can be positive, but like you said, you can't have light and dark in the same place. Treat them as light. We've got just a minute. Tell us anything you'd like us to know.
I just want you to know that you can change your life, just you yourself right now in this moment, or using the book as a tool of consciousness to be able to have the qualities that you aspire to be. Write down a few things you want to have in a couple of years. Say a few qualities that you'd like to have within yourself, and have that on a piece of paper, because your mind will forget, and just repeat that or write those out as often as you can. And that is setting your sail, and that will start to come into fruition for you. We can do this. You're creative, and there's greatness within you.
It's what I say. Everybody's great. Everybody was born great. And I want you, while you're writing that down, I want you to write this down. Are you ready? Okay. Okay, you got it. I will tell all my friends about Andrea Wehlann and Positive Talk. Okay, so there you are. And Andrea Wehlann, thank you so much. Your website again, real quick.
Ganga Moon Yoga squaresite.com.
Bless you, my child. You are so cool. Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin@kmmedia.pro.